Tony, wow, you did such a great job in this. And
Thank you.
before we talk a little bit about Victor, you know, I honestly can't believe this is a true story. I don't think anybody in Hollywood could write something this insane. What was your reaction?
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought when I read the script. I thought, well, if this, I said it couldn't be true. It can't be true. But if it isn't true, then how do you even get this movie made? Because nobody would believe it. Nobody was. Well, they say, well, that's just preposterous. No one's ever going to believe this, and yet it is. And we just committed to it, and it's just a wild ride.
It is a wild ride. And your character, Victor, wow. Man, he goes through the ringer in this. You know, really, being beaten up by The Rock and Mark Wahlberg, I guess I would endure that too.
Yeah, it was challenging. It was physically taxing. Michael Bay was very, very sweet, though. About a week and a half into it, when he noticed that I was kind of coming in to work every morning just a little bit, you know, moving a little slower, he offered to, you know, get me massages every few days, which was kind of a lifesaver.
Nice perk to the job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he must have had...
He's such a sensitive guy.
He really is, don't you think? I think
really
people
is.
misread that guy.
He is misunderstood.
Well, totally. I mean, but what is it like to work with somebody like Michael Bay? Because he comes in with such a vision. He knows what he wants.
Absolutely.
There's no screwing around with this guy.
He has a tremendous amount of passion for his work, and a tremendous amount of confidence in his own experience and skill. And you trust that, and that confidence transfers to his cast, and it's a kind of it's exciting, and also he's high energy, and this movie specifically requires that because of how it's a runaway train, this movie, and the main characters have so much, they're so manic and so crazy that his, it needs his kind of vibrating energy to make it all click.
Yeah. You do a little bit of working out in this film, but is it kind of intimidating being around somebody like Mark Wahlberg or Dwayne Johnson when you look at those guys' muscles and you're like, maybe I do have to hit the gym 90 hours a day. I don't know. I mean, really, those guys are just built.
Yeah, intimidating doesn't really, that's an understatement. It's more like you start to feel like you're either of another species or of another sex. It's just like, where do you begin, It would be way too late for me to even try to emulate that.
Yeah, well, that's okay. That's okay. You have such a great, long, and varied career. My God, I still love Wings. Like, I grew up with Wings. I mean, what a great, great show. And I want to ask you, I mean, for you, what has been easier or harder for you? Is it comedy or drama? What do you find a little bit more challenging?
Well, they always say that comedy is harder. To me, to be totally honest, there isn't really much difference. I mean, in my my approach and my process. I like to when I'm doing a comedic role, I like to sort of find what is what this character, what's serious about him, what he takes seriously, what are the high stakes. And when I'm doing a dramatic role, I try to find the jokes. That's the first thing I look for. What jokes can I dig out of this? What would my character find funny? And so it's really kind of two sides of the same coin.
Yeah. Was there an actor or movie that you saw growing up that made you decide that you wanted to act?
Oh, well, I think there were a number of influences. Peter Sellers was a huge influence on me. I loved old movies, when I was a kid. I mean, even old movies movies from the 30s, movies from the 40s. But I would have to say that Sellers was the biggest influence.
He was great. He was great. Well, as you are really good in this film. I loved watching you in this movie, and keep up the great work. Nice to have a chance to talk to you. Thank you, Tony.